They're selling my house right now, and I never said yes. Not in a million years, not in this lifetime or the next. And right this minute, three families I've never met are walking through my grandfather's cabin with a realtor who swears up and down I agreed to sell. Like my signature's just a formality. Like my family's legacy can be signed away over a handshake and a smile. You know what I mean? I'm sitting in my truck, knuckles white on the wheel, watching strangers stroll through my land, pointing at windows, planning kitchen remodels, talking about paint colors like they're already picking out curtains. Let me tell you, this isn't just a story about real estate. It's about power. It's about greed. It's about what happens when someone thinks they can just take what's yours and make you say thank you for the privilege. Let me back up a sec. Just yesterday, I was out on the porch drinking coffee, breathing that sharp mountain air, in the cabin my granddad built with his own hands back in '87. Sure, the roof leaks and the porch groans when you walk across it. But this place has soul. It's soaked in memory and sweat, and the kind of pride you can't buy or fake. I do some woodworking here, stream it online for a couple thousand folks who like watching a guy carve old pine into something beautiful, and that's the only thing I've ever put on the internet about this place. Never once talked about selling. Not even hinted. So when I'm doom scrolling real estate listings for a laugh and I see my cabin, my porch, my yard, my rickety old mailbox, up for sale at $380,000 by the Pine Ridge HOA Community Improvement Program, with fake letters, fake documents, a whole song and dance about a voluntary relocation for neighborhood enhancement, you better believe I nearly choked on my coffee. They had photos taken from the street, they had official seals, they had a whole open house schedule lined up, 3 different families, driving hours out of their way, thinking they were buying a dream. I call the number, my hands shaking, and Brad from Pine Ridge Realty answers like he's auditioning for a game show. "Oh, Mr. Wilson, the HOA president personally confirmed your participation, all very legitimate." I nearly laughed. I told him I never signed anything, never joined any program, and I sure as hell didn't authorize a sale. But he insists, even gets a little smug about his stack of documents. That's when I realize, this isn't just a mistake, this is an operation, and someone's got a lot riding on making me disappear. So I do what any self-respecting person with an internet connection does. I start documenting. Screenshots of everything. The listing, the documents, the tour confirmations. I set up a live stream, feeling in my gut this thing is about to get weird, and I want as many witnesses as possible. By the time the second family shows up, I'm sitting in my truck, watching Brad stroll around my porch like he owns the place, families oohing and awing, planning renovations. They don't even know they're trespassing. The chat is blowing up, donations rolling in, people telling me to give him hell. That's when the third family arrives, and all the cars are rentals. Who rents a car to tour a house 2 hours away? But I don't have time to play detective because I've got my chain and a big sign that says, "Trespassers trapped. Owner never authorized sale." The look on Brad's face when I step out holding that sign, priceless. Man, truly. He starts stammering about documentation again, and I just stand there grinning for the live stream. The family's looking confused, some getting angry about wasted gas, Brad sweating through his shirt. But then, twist number 1. A white SUV comes barreling up the drive. Out pops Pamela Walker, the self-declared HOA queen, clipboard and sunglasses, and all the attitude money can buy. She tries to lay down the law, starts going on about community improvement programs, waving her folder like a badge, but every time I ask her to show me where I signed, she dances around the question. Chat's loving it, donations flying, and suddenly it's not just about me. People are chiming in with their own HOA horror stories, stories about fake signatures, about pressure tactics, about neighbors turned enemies over property lines. Pamela gets more agitated as she realizes her scam is unraveling on camera. I finally get a look at the documents Brad has been flashing, and it's not my signature on that consent form. It's a forgery, plain and simple. Brad's face goes pale. He's just a pawn in something bigger. But then I start thinking, were these buyers even real? All the rentals, all the secrecy, it smells like a setup. The next morning, my live stream has blown up overnight. 50,000 views, comment sections full of outrage, advice, stories like mine. But Pamela's doubling down. Calls an emergency HOA meeting, puts up a massive billboard at the entrance calling me resident blocking community progress. with a damn arrow pointing right at my house. I start my own counterattack, a truth board by the gate, posting my deed, rotating messages, fact-checking every lie Pamela tries to spread. Midday, a black SUV with tinted windows circles my property, slow and deliberate, no plates. My skin crawls. I head to the HOA meeting, dry erase board in hand. The whole neighborhood turns out, everyone whispering, the air thick with drama. Pamela tries her speech, I fact-check her live. The crowd laughs. Mrs. Harris, my neighbor, stands up and calls her bluff. Pamela flounders, her story falling apart under scrutiny. Back at my property, the harassment ramps up. Fake violation notices, threats of $500 a day fines, all with bogus legalese. I upgrade my sign campaign. 3 boards, each more pointed than the last, one aimed directly at Pamela's house. The disco ball on my fence jams her security camera and turns my live stream into a nightly light show. But the real twist comes when Brad confesses Pamela tried to bribe him. $10,000 bonus to get me to sign ASAP. It's a developer kickback, a squeeze play, and the deeper I dig, the more rotten it smells. That night, security footage catches a shadowy figure with surveying gear burying something at my property line. Turns out, it's a professional-grade GPS beacon, and as I research the serial number, it leads back to companies that do mineral surveys, mining exploration, not real estate. Then, the threats escalate. More SUVs, late-night trespassers, Pamela drilling in my front yard with ground-penetrating radar. That's when the story goes nuclear. I find out my property is sitting on one of the biggest rare earth mineral deposits in the region, something worth millions. Ridgeview Industries, the mining conglomerate behind the shell companies, has been after this land for decades, hiring Pamela as a paid stooge to push me out. She's been getting $10,000 a month for consulting, spending it on bribes and surveillance. When the new HOA president, Helen, discovers the fraud, Pamela's world collapses. She's removed, her car breaks down as she flees, and the whole neighborhood turns out for a block party to celebrate the end of the reign of terror. But that's not the end, not even close. Ridgeview's VP calls me with a $2.5 million hush offer, trying to buy me off and sweep decades of fraud under the rug. I tell him hell no. This land is my family's, and some things aren't for sale, no matter how many zeros you offer. That's when the real secrets come out. My grandfather knew all along. Bought the land because he recognized the mineral signatures from his army days, hid the paperwork, kept the mineral rights locked up for me to find when the day came. Armed with evidence from my grandfather's secret safety deposit box, geological surveys, mineral rights, and years of documentation, I go public. Congressional hearings, media firestorm, criminal indictments. Pamela caught at the border with a suitcase full of cash. Ridgeview stock crashes, new laws get written, and suddenly people across the country are standing up to HOA and corporate bullies, using my story as their rallying cry. 5 years on, the cabin is still standing. New roof, better locks. The original "Trespassers Trapped" sign hanging proud over my workbench. We use the mineral wealth to fund scholarships, veteran programs, community projects. The Morrison Foundation, named for my granddad, becomes a model for how to turn corporate greed into community good. My livestream channel teaches thousands how to defend their rights, fight back against land grabs, and expose corruption. But every story leaves questions hanging in the air. Mrs. Harris hints at secrets from a government project my grandfather worked on in the 1950s, Project Mountain Gold, mapping mineral deposits all over the West. And maybe my family's land isn't the only one being targeted by giants like Ridgeview. As I sit on the porch, watching the last glow of sun fade over the mountains, a silent drone hovers above the tree line, red light blinking, recording everything. Someone's still watching. Maybe this fight is just beginning. So, I gotta ask, what would you do if someone tried to steal your family's legacy? If a corporation spent decades trying to break you? Where do you draw the line between standing your ground and selling out? Drop your thoughts below. Tell me your own stories about justice, about HOAs, about fighting back when the odds are stacked against you. Like, share, and let's keep this conversation going. Because truth, in the end, is the one thing they can never take away.